Good evening and welcome to Real Sports. As we greet you this evening, the football season's in full swing, so we begin tonight with an appropriate expose of an all-too-common sports scam. If you've ever seen a point spread, you've no doubt seen and heard those touts who claim an ability to consistently beat that spread. They boast of inside knowledge and promise sure winners, for of course a cost. For an idea of what you really get from these hustlers, our Jim Lampley tracked down the real story about sports handicappers.
Knockout information, the strongest information of the week. College game of the month, absolutely free.
Meet Stu Feiner, nickname The Source.
Listen.
He promises, quote, to piss on your bookie's face.
Me. What are you waiting?
There's also the coach, the legend, and the guru, Jack Price. He says he's God because he can save you from losing.
I've got my helmet on, it's strapped tight, and I'm ready for war.
They call themselves sports advisors, handicappers, or tout services, and there are 1,500 of them selling sports betting tips to the American public. And as the sports betting business booms, so do the touts. Selling picks over the phone, some of them make $10 million a year. The sales pitch?
I'm red hot, I'm sizzling, I'm on fire.
Pay them.
You need me.
And they'll take the gamble out of sports gambling.
Call my office.
Call now.
If you can't get to a phone,
Call me now.
then buy a phone.
But after a 5-month investigation, here in a word is our tip of the day. Don't.
If there are 1,500 different operations advertising themselves as touts or advisors to bettors, how many of those are legit?
Probably about 50 of them are legitimate.
And the other 1,450?
Very wealthy people. San Fran at Philadelphia, 125, 7 is your total.
Danny Bianculo calls himself a phone thief. He's been in the business for a decade and says what he does disgusts him, but the money's too good to quit. Can he pick winners? Probably no more often than you do. But his job isn't about picking winners.
Show playoffs. My job is to get into your wallet, steal every dollar you have, and your photo album if you have one in it.
Ruthlessly.
Unconsciously. What I've basically done is deceive people out of their hard-earned money. Basically, it's just one big game we play on the public.
And the essence of the game is?
Deception.
Hi, Jack. Chris Stevens with King Picks and the
Jack Stewart has documented the records of hundreds of handicappers for his publication, Sports Watch.
Lakers, Chicago.
Ron Bash, 1995 NCAA record, 311 wins, 57 losses, 85%.
Absolutely no way. He's a liar.
The professor, Ed Horowitz, 79% over 17 years.
He's a liar. It's impossible.
Boston, Atlanta.
63%. That's the best record Stewart has ever documented for anyone picking over 100 games.
How prevalent is false advertising in the sports tout business?
It's almost 100%.
Not only are the records of the handicappers fictitious, sometimes so are the handicappers.
Hi, I'm Brad Banks for the National Sports Authority.
Brad Banks, for example, is just an actor hired by the National Sports Authority.
The information is free, the call is free.
But actor or no actor, the ad does say free. In fact, it says free, free, free.
Call it now.
But when a real sports producer called, he instead got the bait and switch.
We do offer free selections, but our free picks are computer picks, and our computer's hitting about 53%. If you wanted our best picks, you'd have to pay us.
So we did. $150. The National Sports Authority promised to make us $1,000. But after winning half that amount, they demanded another $2,000. We said no. They said,
I think you're an asshole, to be honest with you. Why's that? Because you're an asshole. Why? I'm doing you a favor, you don't even realize it. So now you're out for good, don't even bother calling us again. Wait, hold on a sec. That's it, you're done. I think you're an asshole. You paid him what? I paid him $150. Okay, you're done. Pay him again or you get nothing. Okay? Goodbye.
Jack Price here.
if you called the tout service of Jack Price, the phone is answered in this Southern California building. If you call the services of John Stryker, John West, Phil Daniel, and Ty Gaston, they too get answered here.
In fact, 24 separate toll-free numbers are being answered here, all of them belonging to Jack Price, whose real name is Mark Maroney. He makes all the picks. He collects all the money. Everything else is just a front.
Everything he tells you is a lie. Everything that you read is a lie. Everything you hear is a lie. The only truth you get out of him is where to send the money.
After serving 2.5 years in jail on unrelated felony charges, Danny Bianculo worked in Jack Price's operations for 6 months.
I've seen us flip quarters to find out what team we're releasing. To a guy that's betting 10 to 15, maybe $20,000 on a game. Flip it a coin, bink. Guy, we just got the call from Las Vegas. Telling you, jump on the Cowboys, -7. Lock. Unload. Are you sure about that? I'm telling you, go to the store, get a 6-pack, get yourself a cigar and a roll of toilet paper. Because when you see this game, you're going to shit.
All you have to do is trust me and let me do the rest.
In a phone interview, Jack Price claimed he bases his picks on research and denied ever flipping a coin. But maybe he should have. In August, Real Sports purchased betting advice from 4 of Price's services. John West went 0-1, John Stryker 0-2, Frank Kennedy 0-14, and Jack Price went 0-27. In all, the Price family of tout services got shut out, 0-44.
What's the most damage you ever did to any individual client?
Me personally?
Yes.
$50,000.
In the confidence game, you would call somebody like this a mark.
As you call him a mark, we call him a fish.
How frequently could you find a fish so gullible that you could simply clean him out?
What do you consider gullible? Somebody that's ready to mortgage their house, or just
somebody that's ready to put a second mortgage on their house?
That's called a monster. When somebody's like that, you've got a monster now. He's no longer a fish. He's a monster. That's a Jaws in the water there.
What do you do with that person?
Take him for a ride.
Meet a monster.
His key words were, trust me.
Call him Barry G.
Trust me. I'll never forget those words.
He says he's not the type, doesn't fit the profile. He's 51 and a college graduate who never bet on a game in his life until last December.
I watched the show on Saturday morning.
How valuable is my 900 number?
And Stu Feiner was 9-0. And I said, gosh, you know, he's 9-0. Well, why aren't I calling? It was just a whim. And I made the fateful call.
It began and nearly ended when Stu Feiner picked losers because Barry quit. But then Barry got a call from Mike Anthony, a service Real Sports has learned also owned by Feiner. Barry lost some more. Down $4 grand and eager to get it back, Barry got a call from a salesman for Kevin Duffy. Duffy is yet another Feiner-owned service. He's also Feiner's brother-in-law.
My goal, he said, was to get you $100,000 in your pocket. He had actually told me at one point he misses 1 out of 500 games.
According to betting records, Duffy convinced Barry to wager huge sums of money, and in less than a month, had Barry up $175,000.
And he had me believing that he knew exactly what was going on. And I even asked him, I said, is this game fixed? And he said, yes.
You believed him?
Yes, I did believe him.
But caught up in the thrill of winning, Barry didn't realize that he actually was losing because he was paying Duffy fees that averaged $18,000 per night, paid in advance, win or lose.
One time I was very upset with him. I said, you know, I'd be even or I'd be ahead without all these fees. Trust me, Barry, trust me.
It ended 7 weeks after it began. Kevin Duffy had won for Barry G $115,000 from the bookies, but he had charged him $256,000.
I'm Kevin Duffy, and
Kevin Duffy refused to talk to us about Barry G.
Can we ask you a few questions about your handicapping service?
No, Jim, I have no comment.
And so did Stu Feiner, Duffy's boss, brother-in-law, and owner of the 3 tout services that Barry G used.
We have one guy, a guy who paid $256,000.
Here are some other facts about Stu Feiner. He was fined in 1991 for violating New York City's consumer protection laws, and he owns or has a financial interest in at least 11 services. But to a sports bettor, all might be forgiven if Feiner did one thing.
This is when I get excited. This is when I get ready. And
win.
This is what I get paid to do.
In April, Real Sports paid Feiner $350 for picks. He went 5-11. We then gave him another shot over the summer, but this time we added competition. This is Rachel, age 2. Handicapping experience, none, although she has met Tommy Lasorda.
Daddy, Tommy Lasorda.
And this is Casey, a Cocker Spaniel described by her owners as cute, but not very bright. They each picked 50 baseball games over a 10-week period. Feiner would give us his selection, then Rachel would make her pick from the same game. Then Casey got her chance. The results? Finer hit 50%, posting a 25-25 record. Casey the Cocker Spaniel went 26-24 to beat Finer by a game. And 2-year-old Rachel, she beat them both. Her record, 28-22, 56%.
Come on.
So how does a sports bettor avoid the likes of Stu Finer? This publication, the Football Betting Guide, claims it has a few tips. Its pages are filled with examples of schemes, scams, and phone thievery. And it even offers a ranking of the 10 best touts in the country. The top 2, Blazer Sports and Sycamore Sports.
Sounds great, right? Wrong.
Even though Blazer says it's based in Portland, Sycamore has an Indiana address, and the Football Betting Guide calls Long Beach, California home, phone records indicate that all 3 are located in the same office in this building near Palm Springs, California. Even worse, the Betting Guide and its 2 highest-rated services are all owned by one man.
That man's name is Greg Silvera, and our sources tell us that his publication is in fact a well-disguised advertisement for his tout services, meaning the Football Betting Guide, which purports to expose scams, is itself a scam.
I have done it in the past. I can produce winners, and I can produce winners for you.
Such a thing as a legitimate tout service does exist.
I have to win. I must win.
Lou Diamond and staff admit to being high-pressure salesmen.
We're trying to help you. I'm not asking you to go jump off a bridge.
But they want no money up front, get paid only when they win, and Diamond makes no outrageous claims about his record.
And I should be able to produce a good, solid profit for you tonight.
If a bettor were to abide by all of your information, does he make money?
Yes.
How much?
Depending on what you bet. Does he retire? No. Does he quit his job? No. Should he ever consider that? No. Do not have 75, 80, 90% winners. If that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find it in all reality.
Diamond voluntarily picked 110 games over a 5-month period. He hit 62%. He also picked over 300 games on his internet site and won there too. Our profit, over $6,000. His cut, $15 a month.
Alrighty, people.
How many customers are taking advantage of that?
Oh, 10.
Really?
Sickening, isn't it?
Why is that?
They want the big game. They want the hype. They want to hear that I got the best information that you'll ever get today. That's what they want to buy.
If a tout service promises me a rate of winners at 80, 85, 90%, should I believe them?
No. You're probably walking into a trap.
You get everything. You get everything, just $20.
Somewhere out there, there's a potential sports bettor who's going to look at one of those ads and say, wow, Stu Finer picked 9 straight winners. What's your advice to that person?
Turn to another channel.
You're in the process of hooking a fish or even cleaning a monster out. Ever feel any guilt?
High-fiving.
High five.
You see a lot of...
And every check represented damage to some person's life.
Or potential damage. Yeah, eventually it's damage. They never, even if they win, they lose. We win. You lose.
Lamps, it was a good report, nothing short of amazing. Let me see if I get this straight. If I wanted to go in the business as a tout, all I would need is a phone and some press?
And a little bit of audacity. I'm sure you can supply that. Yeah.
That's it. So these guys are nothing more than modern con men.
Absolutely. Phone thieves, as Danny Biancullo described himself and all of his colleagues in the business.
Are they not regulated in, what did you say, there were like 1,500 of them, something like that?
1,500
Are they
of
not
them.
regulated in any way? They have no state statutes to which they have to adhere?
You know, it's interesting. Virtually every state has some laws with regard to gambling, the marketing of gambling information, aiding and abetting. At the time when we were first assembling the piece about 5 months ago, I presented some of the information casually to a friend of mine who then sat down and presented it less casually to a federal law enforcement official. And the federal law enforcement official said to him, "Don't tell me, I don't want to know. This is an area in which we don't want to try to get involved with enforcement."
Why?
Simply too difficult, and I think the law enforcement officials virtually at every level probably believe that these are crimes of personal injury. Obviously, the victims have to be willing to go along with the scam to a certain degree, or they wouldn't be getting hurt, and I'm sure they feel as though they have other, better things to do.
Yeah, no pun intended, better things to do, because they would prefer to look the other way where betting on football is concerned. How do they stay out of the way of the IRS, though?
Well, I'm not sure that they do stay totally out of the way of the IRS. They're obviously declaring some earnings. But this is telephone income. The IRS isn't an organization that has the mandate of enforcing gambling statutes. If they're collecting a significant percentage of the coin, I'm sure they're happy.
Supposedly there's a sucker born every minute. There obviously are a lot of them if these guys are staying in business. Are most like Barry G?
Well, I don't know if most are like Barry G, but obviously gullibility is one thread that ties the clientele together. Barry G will tell you to this day that he believes significant numbers of games are fixed, that the touts have the information on when games are fixed, and that the guys who sold him down the river could give him a winner anytime they wanted to. He believes that.
But in fact, none of them can.
Of course.
Jimmy, thanks so very much.
Thank you, Brian.